Welcome to Moonbase 2.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Moonbase 2 podcast. My name's Andy, Corporate Commander TFW, and I'm joined this week by the man, the only member of the podcast that does have a mobile phone. It's Mikey G. Wolfie 3. Hello, Mikey.
Because I live in the 21st century, loser.
I know, everyone gets angry when I don't have a mobile phone, apart from me, the only person it really affects.
It'd be rather odd if you didn't have a mobile phone, had not had one for this long, and then got mad about it.
Yeah, it would be.
We're just sitting there going like,
odd.
God damn, Andy, why don't you have a phone?
I don't know. I'm angry about it, though.
Do you have a house phone? I'm just thinking for emergencies.
Yeah.
Okay, grand. Like, it's not like you're going to be sitting there like, shit, I need a doctor.
Oh, no.
Pigeon!
No. We have like a normal house phone, you know. So we get buckets of telemarketers who, at the moment, the scam is to phone up and say, this is Visa secure. Your card has been charged £600. And I'm sitting there. This is a recorded message on a machine, and I'm sitting there going, "Whose card?" There are 3 people in the house that have visas.
And they're just like, your card.
Yeah, it says your card, so it's like, no, you're a scam. If it was somebody's card, you've no idea whose card it is, and I'm pretty sure you'd state it. So you can go swivel.
I'd leave a message. Like, who the hell are you?
Apparently, because I remember briefly checking up online like a day after it had happened, the first one. It does something like it gives you a number and it connects you to, in quotations, a police officer, and then they ask you for your card details so they can confirm it and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, no, fuck you.
Right, a police officer.
In quotation marks.
And is the number 999 or 911 or 119 or something?
I didn't read that far, but I read that part and I was like, yeah. No.
I don't believe you.
No, it's also quite fun when you get phoned up just in general and you can tell it's a telemarketer and you just start screaming, no! at them.
I don't want your shit.
It happens. How are you doing though this week, Mr. Mikey? How's it going?
I have no major complaints.
Oh, that's good. Is it wet and windy in your neck of the woods?
It was, but it's dry enough today, actually.
Oh, very good. We've got it damp and moist down here, which I'm okay with because it means there's no sun, so nothing to burn my flesh with. That's always a plus.
Flooded out yet?
No. My area just doesn't get floods. Fingers crossed at the moment. We've never had any issues, so that's good.
It's almost like there's some sort of element protecting the place.
Yes.
Some fringe thing that God doesn't want to interfere with.
Are you saying he needs to protect me for the oncoming apocalypse?
Well, I mean, he
needs to
know
save.
where the Antichrist is.
He needs to save his ultimate weapon, his ace in the hole card. It's now time to play my trap card. Flips it over. It's me going, eh. It's the Andy trap card. Blah!
My God, I didn't realize that from the last 30 episodes where you used it. How could I have foreseen? And then God goes into a really long explanation, and then someone keeps on going on about holograms.
Do you remember in a random episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! They just decided to add in a new game called Duelist Dice?
Oh yeah, and then they got
and it was
transported
stupid.
like another, like a digital place or something like that.
Oh, that was another one. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. The Duelist Dice was just on Pegasus's island, I think, and this random dude was like, "Hey, we need to play a game," and Yugi's like, "Of Duel Monsters?" And he's like, "No, of my game that I'm developing called Duelist Dice, where you roll a dice and it unfolds." It's like, what? Stupid.
Has no one ever sat down in that world and really asked the question, why are we solving all of our global issues with card games? Because most people don't realize they're real monsters. Except most of the time they're not.
No.
Except sometimes they are.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like, but they're not, but some of them are? Or they're based off of real ones?
Well, like, it's
but
like,
the Egyptian god cards are?
But the Egyptian god cards are like, oh, they're not real. Until that time they got, like, brought out to murder something in the real world.
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh well, they're all real. They're all from another like magic monster dimension. Okay.
Yeah.
But why have you been trying to solve all your problems this way? Why did no one find it odd that you could lose your soul in to this card game invented by a half-blind man?
I think it was only the duels with the half-blind man where people generally lost their souls. I don't think it was a regular.
But like these were televised. These were televised.
I don't think like in schools, like kids were losing their souls.
This is one child who's going around like, and everyone's just like, "Oh my god, no one's ever summoned Exodia." That seems unlikely. That seems an unlikely turn of events.
Well, wasn't it like Exodia was super rare?
But like Exodia, you presumably can get it in like blind packs if blind packs exist in the Yu-Gi-Oh world, and you don't just go in there, storm, and say, "I want that card."
Yeah.
But like there are 4 Blue Eyes White Dragons in the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
Presumably, by the values of rarity, they would be more significant and powerful than like, hey, here's that rare card you got. You bought the whole box. Now you've got Exodia, but you'll never use him.
It's almost like there wasn't a huge amount of logic put into the show. Almost. I actually have a movie that I want to talk about that follows the same idea of as soon as you start asking questions, it all falls apart. I would say more so than Yu-Gi-Oh.
That's a bold claim, sir.
Yes, I will reveal the movie that I want to throw to you and ask you questions about later on in the show, because you don't know what movie it is. I don't think you do, anyway.
I haven't figured it out yet.
Excellent. Well, Mikey, we're here to talk about Transformers this week. There's a lot of not a lot of third-party news, but it's primarily third-party news, so that's where the adventure lies for this week, young Mikey. So I guess we may as well kick off with some Iron Factory, my favourite of the small lines. Even though I don't own a huge amount of it by any stretch, but visually, I've always liked them. Iron Factory shows off the new Iron Samurai series. Guess what the theme is?
It was when I read the names that I started laughing originally.
Yeah, I was actually hoping you were going to say ninjas, and I was going to get annoyed.
Shogun?
We have the
No, ninjas, but there's that one ninja that's randomly a samurai. Remember those shows? Remember how that always happens? They're just like, the power of the ninja. Are you sure?
Well, once in those shows, usually the samurai versions were the more powerful versions of the ninjas, right?
Well, yeah, sometimes. But like the ninjas, the samurai's the badass, but the protagonist's usually a ninja, so it, like for some reason he still beats the samurai in a 1-on-1 fight. Yeah,
which usually didn't happen.
Real life ninjas didn't do a lot of 1-on-1 fighting.
No, they relied heavily on like surprise and
they
blasting
basically
people
did the
in
murder,
the eyes.
Not the fighting.
Yeah, most of the time it was if they got into a proper 1-on-1 fight with the samurai, they died.
Yeah,
they died.
Those guys were fucking terrifying.
Yeah. They had no. The poor ninjas had no armor at all, and the samurais had like full on equipment.
Yep.
So yeah. We have the EX-45 Yori Shishimaru.
I feel like it should be said in
Yoroi Shishimaru.
Yoroi Shishimaru, and you should have like a hand stretched out in front of you when you say it.
Yeah. Oh God. What's that? Kabuki theater styled.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm just thinking of the starting match of Samurai Showdown where it goes Ippomme. Shout out to people who play the new version of Samurai Showdown. So the Shishimaru, obviously Lion Convoy, Leo Convoy, Shishimaru being a lion, as far as I'm aware, or a Shishi at least.
Well, Shishi is lion, and Maru usually has something to do with swords.
Yeah, so there we go. It very much looks like Leo Convoy.
To a point.
Yeah, it does. Like parts of it have the aesthetic
He's
of
got a Kabuto helm.
Yeah, he has aesthetic parts to him which are reminiscent of samurai armor. If you've ever seen the Musou Gundam, which is their samurai Gundam, it has that kind of armor style on it. He has a very thin waist, and the most noteworthy part about it is in lion mode, it has a samurai-styled helmet to it, which is
a
bizarre.
caputo helm.
Yeah.
And he's got like the plated armor on his shoulder, like Kachidoki.
Yeah, I think my issue with this figure is it looks too much like Leo Convoy, as Mikey throws things on the floor in a rage.
Yeah, something like that. Do you know what? I was kind of like that as well because this feels like the lion mode really works for me just because of
It's
of
dumb.
course it's dumb as
Yeah.
why is that lion wearing a hat?
It's samurai. That's why.
But this guy is relatively conservative, particularly
Yeah.
next to the next guy.
Agreed. Yeah.
So it's like, you're almost like his head should be way more. His robot mode head should be like he should have a little Kabuto helm on as well.
Or the Nobunaga styled helmet, from Gaim, which I think is generally the Nobunaga one. That even though I'm not a massive fan of it, the more tall, pointy one. It would have given him
in
a
this
bit.
context.
Yeah, I kind of would like the. I know it's an iconic part of Leo Convoy to have the lion-headed shoulder, but because it just makes him look too much like a generic Leo Convoy, I kind of wish it could have done something else. Like maybe it goes onto a backpack. Maybe it splits in half and goes on both shoulders. I don't know. So I would have liked a little bit different. I get it. They're keeping the aesthetic, but just making it samurai. But I do like the fact that the sheath for the katana goes onto the side. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
And it means he can draw his sword, which we have a little pose for, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
But the other one, the one that I think is way more impressive, and I assume it's the same for Mikey, is the IFEX-46 Honosuke-moki.
Honokumoki.
Thank you. Which is Bludgeon, which you'd never guess was Bludgeon.
Would you, Andy?
It's somewhat Bludgeon.
It's Bludgeon by way of Revenge of the Fallen, by way of that third party one that was basically what if Bludgeon was an anime character, by way of listen, it's Bludgeon because I'm telling you it's Bludgeon.
It's very much that. It's like you said, but then mixing Bludgeon with the gunman from Gurren Lagann, whatever that one was called.
Yeah. Oh God!
It had a specific name.
Oh, it was it the...
Did it begin with a B?
Which one was it?
Had a circle on top of its head.
Oh, it was the Shark Guys one. And then it got upgraded. It started off as a regular gunman, and then it got upgraded into something a bit like Gurren Lagann.
See, I was actually thinking of the first evil gunman, the big one.
That's the one I'm talking about.
Okay.
I think it's the one I'm talking about. Because the Shark Guy, he was the main... He piloted a couple before he...
No, I mean the antagonist who then teamed up at the end.
Yeah, he was a shark.
Was he a shark? Okay.
He was a shark.
I just remember he had pointy teeth.
Yeah, he was a shark.
Okay.
They were all animals, Andy.
I know they were all animals.
That was the whole fucking point.
He didn't have a fin on his head. He wasn't blue either.
No, but he was modelled after a fucking shark, and he was like depressed because he couldn't get laid and have babies.
Don't judge because he has sharp teeth, Mikey. He had blonde hair.
I'm not judging. I'm feeling sorry for the guy who couldn't have babies. I wish he was more relevant to the plot in any way after joining the good guys.
Yeah, he was shunted quite hard.
So was everyone else.
Yeah.
I have a lot of issues with the end of Gurren Lagann.
Yeah, it's fun enough though. But this Bludgeon figure, it has much more modes to it. As we have the design image, he has his robot mode. You can have his shoulder pads either flared up or normally down. He can turn into a tank or a spider tank. With a little Japanese flag on, like Yoshimaru. Yeah,
like a steampunk anime Edo tank.
Yeah.
But with an Oni face.
Yes, it does have... I suppose we didn't actually mention it. It does have a giant Oni face in the center of it.
In all three modes?
Yeah, which is the main focus of the figure rather than the actual figure's head, which is, well, for me at least, why it makes it a lot less bludgeony.
Yeah, it draws your eyes away from from Bludgeon's head.
Yeah, I think, I know for a fact I'm not a big fan of the colours in general, just because I think that the red of the Oni face draws away the eyes from the gold and the green of the general body. And again, like we say, it makes it the focal point. I don't think the red worked desperately well. I think they should have just maybe mixed it up a bit. Maybe
I kind of wish it was in different colors.
Yeah,
overall. But like Banzai-tron's colors might work better with this.
I tell you, I would have liked to see like the Oni face as neon green, all the green bits as black, and then the gold bits as another like ghostly color to it to give it kind of that spooky spectral
I know
feel.
a lot of the Oni masks are like that red is actually tied to a design aesthetic. So
Totally, yeah.
I prefer you kept the red and then had the main robot colors complement it.
Yeah, that could work too. Yeah.
I don't know what colors to use. I do not have the good aesthetic from those things, but
I mean, just switching them around, I think, might have been nice. It's my preferred design out of the two of them, and I think the fact that you can have him as a normal tank and then the spider tank thing is quite a bit neater. Seems to come with a shotgun as well, or a gun in some sort. Well,
probably a multi-barreled old school, probably shooting fireworks shotgun from ye olde animus.
I wouldn't be surprised. He stores his swords on his shoulders. Which is fine and neat. He has maybe a little bit big hip skirts because they're tank treads.
Yeah, there is a bit of that.
But we don't actually have we do have a physical prototype of it, but it's not a desperately good shot of it, of course.
No, but it looks good.
It looks good, but it is distant shots.
And front on the vehicle modes look just lovely.
Yeah, because they've decided to go for the Oni face as the main feature of both those modes, which is fantastic.
And I love the image of this like crawling like steampunk mecha with like a face in it that's probably like it's got a turret above it, but it's also like probably belching fire.
Yes, and steam or smoke. That'd be pretty cool.
And there's a really tiny angry man inside it, just like yelling obscenities, going on about how like I will rule the land.
I do have. It's not a worry for this. It's more. I suppose it is a criticism. It's Iron Factory seem to be doing a lot of different things at the moment because they've got they did do the little anime chibi girls, which I guess they've given up on at this point.
Or they haven't been released. They haven't done anything with it yet. But
yeah,
I know they were. If they were going to be released, it was going to be late this year.
Oh, I didn't. No, sorry, I didn't even mean the actual anime girls. I meant like your Slipstream and your Windblades. But no, the actual humanoid ones as well. That's another one.
Well,
so that's two. They've got the Beast Wars.
Yeah, well, they basically were. The chibi ones were from a different aesthetic that I think they moved on from.
Yeah. I guess the last one they did was RC,
Alito?
which RC molded and then remolded it and tweaked it a few times. But yeah, that was the last one they did. And then as I mentioned, the anime girls with the stick-on armor parts, which we haven't really seen anything else of for a while. They've got the Beast Wars ones, which they're doing or have done some of. We've also got the
IDW.
The generic somewhat IDW-ish. And then just Transformers in general. So they seem to be doing a lot of different... Seems somewhat unfocused, but maybe that's for the best.
It's something I like about it, to be completely honest. It means you never know what to expect with them.
No, that's true. That is true.
And in these days of increasing third-party conservatism, it's not a bad thing.
No, but when you like a idea, I suppose... from a company and they only do like 2 releases of it and you're like, oh, I'd love to see more of this. And then there's no more. Like, I'd like to see more of these things. Will we get any more of them? I guess it depends if these 2 sell well. If they sell well, then they'll keep pushing it.
What would you do? Because you need someone super Japanese.
Do you? I mean, you don't have to.
They're clearly not like... Because Leo Convoy and Bludgeon, not really a pair you think of. The only linking factor is super Japanese.
Yeah, and the only reason that Leo Convoy is super Japanese is not because of his cultural references, but just because it was a series only in Japan. Yeah. So Bludgeon kind of makes sense because he's been samurai'd for a long time now, since Revenge of the Fallen, so that's a long time.
Star Saber would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, yes, and he was super generic samurai.
Yeah, he was a big robot space samurai in a space western.
Yeah, you missed out the word boring as well. But...
No, we're not allowed to say that, Andy. He was ruined by More Than Meets the Eye, who abused his character.
He was boring. A Death Saurus would be nice to see potentially. Again, you could do something. Personally,
Tengu. Make him a Tengu.
I was actually thinking I'd actually prefer to see him more as a medieval knight styled. Mainly because of the animal helmet you could make into a winged, like European styled helm. But yeah, Tengu could
maybe
work.
play up the kaiju connection.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if we got more of these, though.
Yeah, I'd like to. I think it's a nice aesthetic.
Yeah, I think we'll probably get a repaint of Bludgeon, again,
God, yeah.
depending on
Please.
repaints. Sorry, on
Tron.
how many sell. We don't have any idea of when these are coming out or how much they're going to be. This is just what was shown. So there's nothing else we can really say on it apart from, our thoughts. Do you have anything else you want to throw down, Mikey, or shall you move us on to the next bit?
I'll move us on to Zeta Toys Zeta V Bumblebee Movie Blitzwing Grey prototype from Transfans Facebook.
Woo!
So we have our first images of their prototype for movie Blitzwing, and I'll be completely honest, I'm tired of the let's all pretend he's Starscream thing. It's not funny anymore. Starscream was in the fucking movie. Let's move on. So where's Thundercracker and Skywarp before anyone says anything else? But yeah, Blitzwing. So this is the sort of follow-up to their Zeta V ZV01 Pioneer, who is their Bumblebee. Presumably this will be 02 or 03 possibly if they're doing Optimus. This is movie Blitzwing. He transforms into a jet of some sort. And we get not the best shots of him.
No.
Would be a fair and accurate statement, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They're mostly like front on, with most of his face obscured by the canopy of his vehicle mode.
Do you think that's a mistransformation, or do you think that's just how the figure be?
I think that's how the figure be, but I also think it don't look that way if you're not doing a slightly down shot.
Probably right. Right.
Or, like, the only picture that might have been decent is out of focus. He looks far more simplistic than any other version of this character that has tried to be accurate, it has to be said. Which is no bad thing. Like, the idea here is to have a simpler transformation to get a reasonably accurate transforming figure without having to pay, like, crazy prices.
Yeah.
He also has a hand weapon, which is his missile gun thing he used in the movie. We see his vehicle mode. It looks like the jet from the film. I have no idea what that jet is called. I'm sure it's something real. And yeah, he I don't know. He looks good next to Bumblebee. He looks huge next to Bumblebee, but he also makes me kind of wish Bumblebee was the Jeep in this case, because
What, the World War II Jeep, you mean?
No, he starts off as a Jeep.
Oh, yeah, of course.
He hits Earth and he scans an army Jeep.
That's right.
And then goes, woo, 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 into the park. But he's simple, but I do like what they're trying for. What do you think, Andy?
Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. I mean, it's not going to be as movie accurate as, say, who did it? 3A? Did 3A do a non-transforming one? But again, that doesn't transform. Like you say, making it simple isn't a bad thing, at least in my eyes, as long as you make it so it transforms comfortably into both modes. Which is, I guess, kind of the idea that Hasbro has been trying to aim for a while as well. It doesn't need to be overly complex as long as you get from A to B in a nice way and both modes look good. I'm not sure about the chest, to be honest. I'm not sure if it is the angles of the photo or what. But everything else looks perfectly fine for designs that I'm not a massive fan of course. I like his little wheel feet. They're quite sweet. And not in like the, oh, dude, that's sick. More than, oh, that's cute. His little rubber wheeled feet, which won't be rubber. Feetsies. Yeah, you could have like children spinning them, and then he revs them up, and the child gets sucked in and dies. Obviously,
yes, that would be how that ends.
Yeah. Anything else on that, or is any more info?
No, it's early days yet. We'll wait and see about them.
Will we get the Rainmakers repaint out of this guy?
You go to hell and you die, sir.
It could happen.
It could happen. Like, I would expect a remolded head and maybe a somewhat remolded chest to get Starscream and the other Seekers.
Yeah, I think that could happen. Again, if this toy sells well enough, I guess. As far as I'm aware, Mikey, this next one's from a new company.
I have not heard of them.
Trans, new word, craft. And then it says in the next part of the story, it's Transcraft as one word. So I don't know if it's one word or two. I don't know. Anyway, this is the figure Moxigan. I like his Moxie kid. It's Moxilicious. This is, of course, the Last Night character Mohawk. Mohawk, who, like, I'm sure people remember.
I didn't.
I
spent 5 minutes staring at this guy going like, I have no idea.
see, unfortunately, I remembered it because I remember that scene from the last night where I'm like, oh, it's Suicide Squad. What a nice reference to another great movie. Mm-hmm.
Wait, he was last night?
Well, according to this
I
story.
thought he was Age of Extinction.
No, it was last night. Yeah, it was last night. Yeah, because it didn't have that sequence in Age of Extinction. That was all about dinosaurs.
Who was in the... There was him. There was Nitro Zeus. Everyone remembers Nitro.
Yep. Who else was there? Oh, God.
You need another door.
Was there a long haul?
There was a long haul. No, that was Onslaught.
Right.
I remember because he died very, very quickly.
Yeah, probably.
And there was someone else.
Yeah, it was a team of five?
There were 2 other guys.
Were they the Dreads?
Yes, they were at least the Dread
One
bodies.
of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a memorable film,
And that
wasn't
scene,
it?
when you watch it, you can so see the cuts
Oh,
of other
yeah.
bits of the scene that were edited out. And the editing was so badly done.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, the editing in that movie is atrocious. But it's just when you're sitting there, I can see the bits that you left out.
Mm-hmm.
I can even fill them in with my mind brain.
Well, Mikey, this is Mohawk, one of the guys from that sequence. He's going to be 12 centimeters tall. I would say he's loosely based off of, at least the idea design is loosely based off the Revenge of the Fallen Brimstone motorbike, if you remember that.
I remember.
Yes, which is odd, Mikey, because he wasn't in the movie.
No, but I remember we were all talking about him for like a year.
Yeah, because Brimstone was the repaint, but I can't remember what the original blue version was called.
Jesus.
Whatever that one was.
He had a smiley face.
Yes, he did. Yeah, which was weird.
What was his name?
He had an interesting design, but this is kind of I like to think that it's a left turn, like same design aesthetic. 12 centimeters tall, turns into a motorbike. We don't see what the motorbike looks like. He has his bizarre, weird, freaky, giant teethed face. Wheels on his shoulder. He can, in quotations, hold a knife. And by holding a knife, I mean because his hands are open. You just kind of peg it in. I assume it's some sort of knife, yeah. Because he's got a mohawk, I think they're trying to fulfill that kind of 90s punk aesthetic.
Racist?
Well, no, it was a cultural movement rather than a race. Do you not remember the punk guy from Streets of Rage 2 who had the knife?
I remember Bebop and Rocksteady.
They didn't have knives.
No, but they had mohawks. Well, Bebop had a mohawk.
How did you not play Streets of Rage 2?
Yes, but I don't remember it that well.
What?
I remember.
Jesus.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Raw. And then I remember getting stuck on this skinny, giant, lanky guy who threw claw. He had claws.
Mm.
Oh, I remember getting stuck on him.
Was it in the fun? Oh, it was in the fun house. It was after the pirate ship, wasn't it? Yeah. You were in the alien fun house. I know where you were.
That was before saves.
Yes, yeah. You needed friends to help you through that, Mikey.
Didn't have any. Was short. Didn't have any friends. Only had a Mega Drive.
hang on.
Didn't have a Mega Drive.
Hang on.
Didn't my Mega Drive.
Didn't have any friends because you were short.
Yep.
Oh man.
Like they couldn't find me. You see.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say that
there's
we have a friendship height requirement. You don't measure up, I'm afraid. And he went, oh, maybe next year.
No, I went.
What do you think of Mohawk then, Mr. Mikey? Are you on board with his weird, bizarre design?
I feel like the fact I had no idea who he was for 5 minutes probably should tell you everything you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
He's fine, I'm sure.
Okay. But it's not for you from the sounds of things.
No, that would be an accurate statement.
That's fair. I would be up for him if he was in the Streets of Rage 2 colors, but with no human flesh tones. Like, so you'd paint like his torso so it looked like he had the outline of a leather jacket on. You gave him blue jeans, because that would be stupid. And maybe you give him like a green mohawk, but like with a red squiggly line through it, like they've dyed it just there. through the center. That would be kind of fun. Wouldn't buy it, but it would be visually interesting. Can't talk about the bite mode because, as far as I can tell, I can't see any images of them, at least here. There might be some elsewhere, but they're not here at the moment, so what can you do? Mikey, take us on to another bit of third-party news, because that's primarily what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, Toy World have revealed images of 2 parts of their upcoming combiner. What is that combiner, Andy? It's one you've never seen before. It's Predaking!
Who?
He's a... I don't remember. Thunder King!
Oh, that's a neat name.
Yes, which, going by some of the pictures, like, someone is playing up the thunder part of that.
I don't know what that means.
So, there's one picture of a guy with a big sword, and it feels like he's going, Thunder!
Oh, okay, I get you.
So these were revealed on Weibo and on Dr. Jazz and on TransFan Facebook. These have been going around. These are G1 Predacons, but these are quite stylized versions. Very, very stylized, in fact, which automatically made me more interested than anything we've had in the last 3 years. So these are Revolt Gear and Fury. Revolt Gear is Rampage. He turns from a quite anime-ish mecha robot into a Zoid. Like, no ifs, no buts. That's a feckin' Zoid.
No.
No, that's like, that's... No. People say, oh, it's a Zoid sometimes, and they're trying to be like, oh, it's like calling something a Gundam. Oh, I've seen an anime. But no, that's a fucking Zoid.
Do you hear Mikey pushing the glasses up his nose, looking down on people? And they're not weakness.
No, it's not a Gundam. That, sir, is not a Gundam.
I like to believe you would be in an anime and a guy in a suit goes, "Oh my god, it's a Gundam," and you're like, "Well, actually, so
no." I do the thing where I push up the glass with 2 fingers on the side of my head.
Oh yes, yeah. It would be like your little finger and your thumb, because that's sometimes how they do it in anime for no reason.
And it's just like, actually. But yeah, he's a fucking Zoid. He's got huge claws. He looks more like Catilla, which I'm thinking easy repaint.
Man, imagine if this thing had a motor in it to make its little arms. It doesn't.
No,
but
no, God no. But yeah, he's got a big arm cannon that can. He's got a back cannon that he can hold as a gun. But no, I like him. I mean, I love that like chunky Zoidish aesthetic. It's fun, and it's different from the stupid brick that we're all pretending we still want to get. Yeah, I said it. Come at me.
Who's the stupid brick, Mikey?
Oh, fuck off. Then we have Fury, who is a lot less posable, but still quite Zoidy. He's got translucent horns. He's kind of got a Brahmin bull thing going on.
He's got a nose ring. I didn't notice that.
Yes, he does, actually.
Huh.
Oh, that's a nice feature.
But it is translucent, though. That's concerning.
Yes, but so are his horns, which are also concerning. In his robot mode, he makes me think of their Seacons.
Yeah.
Just the overall aesthetic of it, you know?
Yeah, because there's not much silhouette to it.
No. He's got a really nice face sculpt. Really,
very much
really
so.
good face sculpt. We also see him in arm mode, where we don't see it. No, we see Revolt Gear in arm mode, and we see him with Predaking's sword. And Predaking's sword is a mishmash of all the swords. So he is a combination of sort of 2 meat cleavers, a bunch of swords from Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, a hammer, and a double-handed axe, some sort of pike, another hammer of some sort. I quite like that. Presumably these all come with the various guys. And we see Predaking's hands, which are fully articulated and have an extra feature in which they combine on your dinner table with your friends as a rotating table of probably, like, people are probably walking by this restaurant and feeling very embarrassed looking at your table full of toys. But the hands combine into a crab. A crab of doom. A hand crab, actually. Yes. So, yeah. Didn't see that coming, but it looks like the thumb basically just sort of turns into claws.
Yeah, it's weird.
I'd like to see more of that, but I'm honestly into these. They're hitting an aesthetic level I like. They look fun. I like they're not the first people to ever come up with this giant sword thing, but I like the component parts in this more than I do in most. And I like the idea of just, hey, we're getting that little bit of extra playability out of the hands. What do you think, Andy?
You didn't talk about the sword size, did you?
I mean, it's basically a shank.
Yeah, it's big. Like I think it might be the biggest sword for third-party toys.
Well, basically, it's big enough to be a roleplay sword.
Yeah, like legit. Like no, there's no joke here. It's ridiculously massive. I don't know how well the toy's gonna.
Well, we don't know how
hold
big
it.
the toy is.
It's if the sword's that actually no, because the sword's just fucking massive in its hand as well. So yeah, it's visually quite neat, but in terms of the sword, it's like ooh, that's gonna get a lot of people really excited.
Should we be concerned?
Perhaps. I like the hand crab. That's really neat. That's a really fun feature, and it means that when you're parts forming, there's a feature to it. I like the animal modes, I think, a lot more than the robot modes. I think very similar to, like you said, the Seacons. They have a lot more personality than the robot modes. The robot modes still don't have a lot of oomph behind them, at least from my perspective. The cat one, whichever one that's called again, has the most, I suppose. But even then, it's not. I just don't think the Toy World aesthetic is for me. But at least the animal modes have a bit of cool chunk to them. The interesting thing, of course, is going to be Predaking combined, how that looks, how different that's going to be, how they do the head mold and all that kind of bobbins. Will he come with a cape?
Yep.
Yeah.
Should he? He should definitely come with a cape. But
will he have a mode where you can split the head in half and you see a brain?
Oh man,
do you remember that?
Let it go, Andy.
No,
I'm never going to do that. No one else wants that.
For good reason, because for some reason it meant he was a GoBot. If you think about it.
I know. Yeah.
Stupid, weird ass zone. Do we have anything else on these?
No, that's it for now.
All right. I will talk then, Mikey, about the NewAge Toys H3 Lucifer. He is the Prince of Lies. It's legend scaled Starscream G1.
Isn't that Loki?
Well, Lucifer,
handsome, sexy Loki.
I think Lucifer's known as the Prince of Lies as well.
I
think it's more appropriate to call Starscream Loki.
Yeah, but do you miss old Loki?
Which old Loki? Do you mean the one from Norse mythology, or do you mean the Marvel movies, or do you mean like the cartoons, or
old Marvel comic Loki that's been completely subsumed by sexy Tom Hiddleston?
Yeah. I liked old Loki, but then again, I preferred older Marvel, I suppose, than movie Marvel. Hey ho, those dreams had to die. But no, I liked Loki. I liked Loki when he was verbally dueling with Doctor Doom most of the time. That was always a lot of fun. Like who was getting who over, and usually it was Doctor Doom because Doctor Doom's fucking overpowered as shit. And I love Doctor Doom. He's amazing. But this is the legend scale Lucifer, as I mentioned, who will more than likely be repainted at least 2 more times in a safe bet. A safe bet. We don't have a picture of him in jet mode, but we have hand pictures of him on a stand. I'm not sure whether this suggests that he comes with little blast bits coming out of the bottom of his feet.
Yes, it does. Because they're in multiple shots. Okay.
He also seems to be holding a Megatron in gun mode, because that's just a thing that's given these days.
Big Megatron.
Very big. He seems to come with a few hands. He has open hands and at least closed hands to hold Megatron at the very least. He has a crown, a translucent cape, no shoulder pads, but I think they'll more than likely happen if they're giving him crown and cape.
It would be odd if they went for the cape and didn't include the shoulder pads.
Yeah, agreed there. It is very much a prototype, so we have a closer-up image and things are rubbing together and nothing really looks like it's tabbed in properly, but, it's a prototype. What are you going to do? Looks like it's a fairly strong mold, though. Mikey, do you have any thoughts on a legend-scaled Starscream? Even in hands, he still looks quite big.
He looks decent. I hope he comes to that stand.
Oh, Mikey.
Well, it looks like it. Like, why are we getting jet feet if you can't use the jet feet?
You can buy the stand separately.
Go fuck yourself. I think he looks decent. NewAge, from what I understand, they've got some good engineering going on, so that's what I'd be curious about with him.
Was NewAge the guy that did the guys that did the Bumblebee that everyone went nuts for?
I believe so.
And they've done Insecticons recently, which we complained at that they were too G1 in their terms of transformation. Okay.
But I'm
Just
also
double checking.
I am building to the age old. This is a very safe toy to do.
Starscream, yeah.
It does. Hey, a seeker, a very G1 seeker with a hat and a cape. Like, I would say one thing this toy needs, this toy needs good engineering, because God love it, on either good engineering or exceptional articulation for the size, because there's just not much of a draw there for me.
It seems like it has decent articulation. He has ball-jointed hips. He has a thigh swivel, at least a knee bend, 90 degrees. Ball-jointed shoulders. It looks like he might be able to get at least 90, maybe more, for an elbow bend. Maybe a waist joint. So it looks like it's fairly posable, and the wings are posable as well. I'd be interested to see how it transforms. Is it going to be a rip-off of a masterpiece? Is it going to have its own transformation? Because we don't see any of the jet mode, like I say. So how much undercarriage might he have? These are all, they're not important questions, but they're all interesting questions to see how well this figure turns out. But yeah, like you say, very safe. But then NewAge seems to be just focusing on G1.
Yep.
And G1 Season 1.
Yep.
So, as long as you don't make a hound.
They will. Oh, I've just remembered something.
Oh?
No, keep talking.
Oh, concerning. Unless you're talking about the hound repaint into, what's his name?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't include that because it looked like a custom figure.
It wasn't.
I know. It looked like it, though.
I think that's worth talking about.
Okay. Well,
for that very fact.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about it now. I mean, it's not, in our usual format, but since we're talking about it, and I don't have anything else to say about Lucifer, unless you do.
Hope it's good.
Yeah, all right. So, yeah, you brought up, God, what's his name?
Hotshot.
Hotshot. I was trying to think of his Cybertronian name.
Yeah, so was I, to be honest. But
Exilion?
And then X or something.
Yeah, I as soon as those three got their upgrades, I was like, I can't remember you. I remember your toys, but not your names. So yeah, we saw pictures of these guys, or of this guy redone from Hound. I think it looks
atrocious.
Not good.
Terrible.
I honestly thought when I saw pictures of it, when I saw pictures of it, I honestly did think someone had got the Hound toy, repainted it themselves, and just got the original head from the toy and just plopped it onto this figure. I didn't realize it was the official one.
Ugh fuckery.
So you're not a fan?
No, I think it's atrocious. I think it's genuinely. I mean, I don't like that aesthetic of the Hound, although I hear he's like real good in hand. But this is one of those things that was a good idea on a drawing table that someone should have stopped on once they got prototyping.
So what is it that you don't like about it?
His proportions are nonsense. He had a tiny head. The color layout with that big boxy chest does not work for this character. I like his guns. I don't know if they were with Hound originally, but they look okay. No, none of these colors work in this mold, and that head looks wrong. It does not look like it belongs.
Yeah.
I don't like him at all.
No, I'm not a fan of it either, kind of for the same reasons. Oh, I think the fact that I mentioned I thought it looked like a custom kind of speaks volumes. I think it's a figure that really should have had some heavier remolding done to it to make it work for what they were going for.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, I think doing that Hound toy into Swindle, even though it's a bit cheap, would have made more sense.
A lot more sense in my eyes.
It would have been easier to do. It would have been, in some ways, less work. And it less. When I say less work, I mean less of a stretch to try and get that idea across. Or you could go even cheaper, not do a head remold and do him into, what was his name? Desert something, the E-Hobby version of Hound, which was the desert color.
Detritus.
Is that what he's called? Jesus, what a name. I'd even be happy with that, you know, full on tan color with the white face and pink or purple eyes. Yeah, yeah, I'd be happy enough with that. Maybe give him a scythe because edgelord.
Yeah,
That'd be
of course.
fun. Yeah, don't judge me, you bitch. But yeah, I don't think it was for this. I appreciate that they're trying to give fans of that time period a new version of that toy to be like, here, buy our product because you're old now.
This feels more like, hey, we have to make these G1 characters, but we're pretending that this will do.
Yeah, it's not the best.
I think Galaxy Optimus rather turned out better.
Yeah, I would agree.
But there's still that element of, listen, we have to do these G1 characters, but we do realize that these other incarnations of the franchise existed.
I think my issue still with the Galaxy Convoy is I don't think it looks as good as the original Galaxy Convoy.
No.
Personally. I mean, if you have the toy and you have both of them and you prefer the new one, fair enough. But I still think the original one looks like a more impressive toy, even though it may not have the greatest articulation to it. It still looks like a lot more because I had it back in the day and it was fun, big and clunky, but fun.
Real fun toy.
Yeah. Anyway, I suppose we should move on, Mikey. Do you want to talk about some puzzles?
Yeah, via Reddit, images have come up for another Moo model. Last week we were talking about, I don't remember what character it was. Wheeljack, thank you. And this time we have another fully licensed 3D metal puzzle character. This will be a build-it-yourself metal puzzle kit with flexible tabs just for tabbing into place. Previously they have done some movie and some G1 characters. They also did an IDW Stealth Bomber Megatron. This time around they're revealing images of IDW Tarn, which came a little left field. He is posed holding his double fusion cannons combined in sort of a double fusion bazooka. You can disassemble a few parts, but for the most part they don't do much. One key thing is he does have a swappable head to give him the maskless face for those people who want to see, like, let me see you with my own eyes. There's a reason Vader wore the mask.
He's saying because he was an ugly fuck.
Oh, Dad, you've got so many burn scars and your head is in a robotic fishbowl.
Oh, Dad, why are your eyebrows like so big? They're like two giant caterpillars on your head.
Put the helmet back on, Dad. Let me see you as I want to remember you. With the face of a monster.
I like the idea that Anakin, that Luke pulled off the mask and then put on a paper bag over his dad's face as he died and went, I can't deal with you. You're just grotesque. You're just grotesque. I'm sorry.
You're hideously ugly.
And you were a mass murderer, so here's a paper bag on your head.
I'm not sure I forgive you.
No. That would be a very different end to Star Wars, wouldn't it? I'm not sure I forgive you, Dad.
I'm dying, son. I saved your life. What are the last words you want to say to me? Kind of glad you're dead.
Yeah, you weren't a really good person.
How many of my friends did you nearly kill or actually kill?
Yeah.
Quite a few.
One or two.
Remember Biggs?
No one remembers Biggs.
Wedge? Biggs and Wedge? No? They're dead because of you.
Yeah.
And that Wampa rat I killed in rage. Also, Luke Skywalker was killing small animals for fun with laser guns. That is a sign of psychopathy. I was driving around the desert shooting wild animals for funsies.
To be fair, he comes from genetic stock of his father going around massacring the women and the children. So
the younglings, Andy. They don't have children in space. They have younglings.
Well, I meant the sand people, but yes, I forgot he killed all the younglings as well. Star Wars. Shall we move on, Mikey?
Yes, please, for the love of God.
Yes, because, Mikey, there was another issue, or another part to the Takara Tomy Generation Selects, because it's not Select, it's Selects, Seacons webcomic Part 2 and 3. Mikey, what happened in these parts? And did it help make more sense? Because we only got, like...
Not Really?
5 pages?
Not
4
really.
pages.
Not a lot more sense. If I'm
Yeah.
completely honest there, buddy. I found out who the artist was, or the creator. This is a new guy,
Oh.
Shin Sasaki, or Sasaki Shin. I don't know which way around it is. I'm just checking here what else he done. He seems to have done a Rockman manga at some point.
Oh,
Sasaki Shin.
Rockman being Mega Man.
No, yes. I was going to be that guy, but no, we're not going to play that game.
Well, hang on,
he
what do
did-
you is that a thing?
Oh God, yes.
Is it?
Of course it is.
Oh man.
You know, and I know how this goes.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, so he's done
Huh.
4 mangas over the last 10 years.
Hmm.
None of them are major. So he did, what is it? God. Open up! He did Rockman ZX.
ZX.
I suppose it would be ZX. Right?
I'm gonna be that guy.
A manga for Disgaea 3.
I don't know what that is.
Do you remember this guy is a dungeon? It's a dungeon-based game with demons and the pennies.
don't.
Do you remember the pennies, exploding penguins?
I don't actually. I don't.
No. It's difficult to explain if you without context. It's
yeah.
quite a popular sort of tactics-based game.
Okay.
It's quite daft as well. It's completely insane.
Well, you said exploding penguins, so yeah.
He did an original story called Sacred 7. I believe it's original.
Oh.
And he did a Slayers one for the Slayers anime.
Okay.
Slayers Light Magic. But yeah, so this is his first bit of Transformers work. The story for these is that Optimus is flying through space, as you do, and is attacked by a space pirate ship where Turtler is at the helm. He sicks a bunch of an upgraded Gulf, which
Who?
is the Coelacanth.
Oh.
Don't
okay.
know his American
Scalar?
name off the top of my head. Scalar. Optimus uses the Silva Matrix and summons his trailer. He uses the trailer to knock out the drone. He then combines into Star Convoy, the Generation Select Star Convoy, and then he is attacked by more Gulfs. A Gulf of Gulfs. He manages to destroy them, but Star Convoy is then attacked by Turtler, who they drive him into a corner, but Turtler is just like, nah, son, and then calls more Gulfs, and only Gulfs, and combines into King Poseidon.
Not King Gulf.
King Gulf Poseidon, made of all the fish. Yeah, and then Half Shell is in the space pirate ship going like, oh, I could do more stuff. And he's got batches of sea cons sort of brewing in a tube. Now, the
That's
TFWiki
weird.
assumes these are like Celia and the other...
Tentacle.
No,
Overbite.
the Beast Wars Second.
Those
sea cons.
ones. Oh,
But considering that Gulf's the only one that appears in this, I'm assuming those are just the G1s.
Yeah, I would imagine they're the G1s because I don't think. Well, his crew had personalities, didn't they? While all of Turtles didn't.
Yeah, well, like it could be like, oh, the story to go with like, and these ones had minds.
I guess.
But it's the fact that in the manga he combined with 4 Gulfs to form King Poseidon.
You don't think that's a dodgy tactic? They're trying to sell people for. Is it a 2-pack
God.
they come in, or is it individual?
It's individual.
So they could be like, oh, you could make King Poseidon straight away if you bought 4 Gulfs. I'm just saying.
I'm just wondering if they're hinting at Half Shell and God Neptune, but who knows?
I mean, that'd be nice if that's what you want to see. You mentioned that for a few weeks now, so
Yeah, it's also weird having Half Shell in this role of like sinister science guy, considering that he is basically likable space pirate.
Yeah.
He's not quite Jack Sparrow, but he's like, I love money and friends. I give money to my friends. But I love money a lot.
It's also weird to see him in his G1 body when he's all nice and smooth and cylindrical versus the toy version of Turtler.
Yeah.
Who has to be based off of, what's his name?
The nude one?
What's his name? The Terracon dude.
Oh.
Hunger.
Jesus, that's a bad one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not crazy about these comics, either visually or narratively. But hey,
Yep.
at least there's some fiction going along with these.
I think visually they're all right. They're fine. I think they've got a bit too much reflection on them.
I think they're very hard to follow.
There is a bit of that as well. There is a bit of that.
Perhaps a bit unnecessarily hard.
I think for me, the amount of light lines that they've had drawn on them to show that the shiny is another reason I find it a little bit hard to follow them as well, because there's so much visual information to kind of take in. Say like, oh, that's Turtler, and there's all this refracted light off of him for no particular reason, because he should be fairly smooth, I would have thought. Anyway, that's just me being picky, I suppose. Yeah, so the comic, Mikey, it's continuing.
It's continuing.
I guess this means we'll probably get some kind of comic with the next few releases of the Seacons in the future as well.
I'm assuming so.
Yeah. Mikey, I want you to tell me about Unicron, because you told me a bit of information about him last night that I didn't know, at least.
So yeah, Unicron pre-orders are available in Australia via EB Games and Zing. So pre-orders are up in these fine online retailers. In both shops, he's going for $848 Australian dollars, which translates into $575.
Woo!
Which means that he seems to be sold for little or no markup over there in Australia.
Well, isn't that because the dollar in Australia is just like usually terrible, so they get screwed on a lot of other things?
True, but that means that they're basically, unless they've got a deal going with Hasbro, they're buying him and selling him at the price they're buying him at. They're basically making no money off this guy, unless there is a deal going on in the background that they're paying less to get more or something like that.
Maybe.
Who knows? Pre-orders require a deposit of $100 Australian dollars, which is $68 and they will be open until August 31st. Keep in mind that this is only going ahead if the target of a minimum 8,000 American units is reached. Currently, I think they're sitting at 3,000. I think. But one retailer is going to act as sort of a UK and possibly European distributor, and that's tfexpress.com. They've got Unicron up for pre-order at £600. Now, obviously, that is expensive, and that is a markup, but they've come out and said that they're actually knocked off a lot of their profit on this to try and get it to people as efficiently as they can. So you are paying more, and unfortunately you are paying a fair whack of money more than you would if you were in America. But they are saying like they're not making a whole lot of money off of any of these, and they're making that purposeful choice because I suppose just because it's a very limited release and there was never, unless you were going to go the Big Bad Toy Store route, there's very little money to be made off them anyway. So yeah, they're taking deposits, and like they said, if it doesn't go through, they will fully refund all your deposits. But if the project is up and you change your mind, tough titties. They're going to keep the money because it's a non-refundable deposit. Due date is February 2021. I think that's good. I mean, we've got ways of getting it outside of the US. I still think the marketing at the moment and the release of this internationally is just very silly. And I also think that limiting your funding to just limiting your crowdfunding on this kind of highly specialist item to just one country was very risky and foolish. And as other people pointed out, there's other things in Transformers that are going to be demanding money at around the same time as.
Oh, you mean Cookie Monster?
Well, Cookie Monster, he could take all our money, Andy.
I think Unicron killed the Cookie Monster though, didn't he?
Oh no!
Yeah,
he's just sitting on him, sitting on his bloated corpse. If you're in the US, of course, you have the crowdfunding option. If you're not, wait and see. Don't buy from an American retailer if you're not living in America. I stress this enormously.
I mean, do what you want, but there are better options.
There are even factoring in the need for a markup and everything else and anything else I've ever said, I don't think we've seen the transformation video now, or at least a very rough one. There is not $200 extra worth of toy there. There is not nearly, after shipping, over $800, maybe, depending on where you are in the world.
Yeah.
$900 worth of toy.
Yeah, because of course, at least for the UK import charges and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because that thing's
So-
getting hit. Because that's coming in a
Oh
big
my
box.
god. Yes. And Big Bad are selling it for $775.
Oh boy.
And no, you can't justify that to me. Because I've seen what it does now, and I'm now reasonably certain it's not worth that much money. It might be worth the $575 original. I have to admit I'm leaning towards it's not quite there for me, but I have, a lot of that could be the physical presence, the weight, and everything else.
Sure.
But what the toy does in terms of engineering definitely does not mean that, oh, I missed the crowdfunding, I better get an extra $200 together and buy it. No. Also, that video, I mean, it didn't blow me away with the transformation. But, maybe I'm missing a few steps. But I did really, really like that man's tuxedo.
See, I found him to be really sinister. I think because he was wearing shades as well and
great.
white gloves, which he probably used to beat people with.
Yeah, and he probably really, settles the gloves on his hand before and after.
He has many sets of white gloves because they get covered in blood so often.
And it ended with him sipping tea.
Oh yeah. He may be a brute, but he's a refined brute.
Yeah. Andy.
Yes.
Have you gotten your pre-order in?
No.
With Australia?
No. Definitely not going to be putting in a pre-order. Interesting to know, I suppose, the information that you threw down, but there are people saying it's still definitely going to happen. People are saying it's definitely not going to happen. I can tell you this. When the time runs out, we'll know for sure whether it does or doesn't. It could still happen, and a Unicron is made, or it won't get enough funders, and it won't. Just because of how these fundraising things happen, I don't know how it's going to go. But I suppose luckily I'm not that invested on either way of it succeeding or not. I suppose I guess I kind of hope it does succeed in a way, just because it's nice for the people to get what they want. But I'm not at all invested.
I do, in a way, I do want this thing to succeed, not because okay, I'm sympathetic with the people who are in their G1 nostalgia mode right now and just oh my god, and that's fine. I'm not particularly interested in having a giant toy of Unicron. Never have been, never will be. I've had the opportunity to own various versions of the guy over the years, and I'm just I was happy with my little deluxe from Cybertron for a while.
That's a pretty good one.
But I want to see this succeed because I want to see other Transformer toys go through HasLab. And I want to see other creative prospects that we wouldn't see in other ways, Yeah. So I want to succeed, to show that there is a market there and that you can put the time and investment in developing these figures, because there's a decent chance you will get some return on them.
You know what would be neat? Legend scale Unicron. I'd be interested to see how they do that, as long as it wasn't
There is
just
a
a
Legend
down
scale
sky.
Unicron.
No. What? What do you mean?
Oh no, that's Unicron Megatron.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's a volcano Unicron.
No, I mean a Legend scale Unicron. Iron Factory does it, a New Generation or NewAge or something. As long as it wasn't just a slight retool of the Armada one. I think that'd be interesting for a third-party company to do. Instead of just upscaling one.
Yeah, Andy, what if you could get one that's a whole 3 inches taller than this one?
And it's just the Armada one. Yeah, I'm all right. How many did they say they were saying how much they were selling that for or not?
No, but I'm still trying to get my head around the fact that for some people it's that those 3 inches mean that much.
Yeah.
Because they're just not to me.
No. Different strokes, I guess. Not for me either.
People get really loud about this.
What about the Unicron?
About basically what they deserve from toy companies.
Oh, right.
That's a conversation for a different day.
It'd be. The last bit of news we have for this week, Mr. Mikey, is another guest attending TFCon DC 2019, and it's Casey Collar. Yeah, that guy. Artist guy who worked on All Hail Megatron, Transformers source books, More Than Meci, and lots of other stuff. So he will be heading to the DCs, and if you want to see him get stuff signed, he'll probably be doing commissions and whatnot. I'm just assuming. Then go and speak to him, and give him your monies.
Lay hands upon him.
Give him the monies. And with that, Mr. Mikey, I suppose we move swiftly on to Mikey. What you done this week? What you done for fun? Have you done fun things? You better have.
No, I was sick for most of the week, to be honest.
Oh no! Did you get down with the sickness?
No, well, I was down with a sickness.
Did you open up your hate and let it flow to me?
I basically just sort of lay in bed for after coming home from work and with my face in pillow going like,
Oh no! This is why you shouldn't interact with the general public.
filthy humans. I did do a little bit of stuff. Did continue playing. Haven't actually done a lot of it, but did continue playing Horizon Zero Dawn. I've officially switched over to the story missions because I realized I probably got all the side missions done now.
Okay, oh, that's good.
And 3 story missions. That's how many I had done up until today.
Oh, that's not a lot.
I've done 2 more.
Okay.
It's an enjoyable game. It's a fun game, but my god, like apparently the story gets so good. It's like, oh my god, it's an amazing story. You'll want to replay it just to go through the narrative again.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing was like, maybe, but you kind of killed a lot of my interest in it by making it way too easy to just fall into doing nonsense for 20 or 30 hours.
Yeah. See, I heard that.
And enjoyable nonsense, but repetitive nonsense.
I can't believe the story would be as good or as engaging as Dad of Boy or Spider-Man's, right?
Those are very good stories.
Yeah, and those are games that you'd want to replay because the stories were really good.
And they have open world elements to it, but they're focused.
Yeah.
And they're saying, like, listen, you can go do a few side quests, but you really want to get a move on. Like, you want to give the impression that this is happening in real time, not that this person has wandered off and, like, I need to find the killers. But I must farm resources for the next 4 years.
Woo!
That is just something that bugs me about it. Like, it's just there's just some obvious time sinks in this game. But it's still enjoyable. I like the gameplay. It basically the gameplay does kind of just evolve into like shooting things from a distance with an arrow, but that's fine. And I have basically my gameplay style has become tie up something big and scary, override it, and let it do all the killing.
I mean, that's not a terrible strategy. Is that literally what you're doing pretty much for every combat situation, though?
As many as I can.
Okay, that sounds repetitive and not in a good way.
What it means is like this game is not necessarily easy at any point, no matter what difficulty you're on.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're above like the easiest one, and I like having backup. So and like you can't always do this because the machines have very limited range that they can move in. So they generally move in very strict circles, and even if you've reprogrammed them, they don't follow you.
Right.
But they'll attack anything that's a threat within your area. So sometimes you can set it up, or you can bring a machine. Like you've got a mount ability that you can summon a tame mount. And what I've taken to doing, if I'm in like a bandit camp or something, I'll just like call them in, have them go one way, and like they're going off killing things, and I'm just going to go up high and start sniping people. And say, I'm saving the horse. But I like the override function, and I've had more fun going around trying to override different animals and seeing what they do, or different machines and what they do to each other, and who can win who in a fight than I have had in other aspects of the game that I'm sure are more popular with people.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm getting into story stuff now. I'm kind of just at that point where just like, okay, I've done enough. I don't need to do any more side stuff. Let's just go. Yeah. Which is in itself not necessarily the best way to be about a narrative.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Also, because I did a trade-in last week, I picked up Shantae, Half Genie Hero, which I've played a little of, but not a lot.
I've heard of that.
We were actually talking about it yesterday without us realizing it.
Oh.
Because there's a new one coming out, because it started off as a handheld game.
Yes.
A few more came out. It got a Kickstarter revival there. It came out in Nintendo, then the PS4 version, and a new one, Shantae 5, where at least the opening is being done by Trigger. That's right. As soon as you said Shantae, I was like, aha! Now I remember the game that they did the intro for. So the story is light so far, but I love the visual style, and I got the collector's edition, so I got the art book with it, and it's really nice. Basic story is you are playing as Shantae. She is a half genie. In this world, half genies kind of serve as town guardians and things like that. Her town gets invaded by a pirate who I understand keeps showing up in all the other games as well. Right. and there's DLC where you can play as her.
As the pirate, you mean?
As the pirate, yeah.
Okay.
And you beat her, but there's more going on, and you have to start exploring the area because there's these barons or lords or something who are messing with the locals, including the giant sexy mermaids.
Oh no!
They're messing with the giant sexy mermaids, Andy.
No.
But this is hella anime, by the way, visually. It's
Yes.
2D platformer, but it's hella anime. The combat is interesting because her general gameplay, she's got one move. Apparently, like, there's different costumes. I haven't tried any of them out that give you other powers. Like, one's a ninja, one's a cop, one's her. One is her with a beach ball and her at a slumber party with pillows.
Okay, yeah.
But the main gameplay, you have one attack, which is she attacks with her hair. It's short range, sort of standard what you'd get from a platformer, 2D, old school 2D platformer. But she has a transform ability. And the transform ability, it's limitless. You can use it constantly, and you have to use it constantly. Because each form has a different strength. One jumps higher, one can move really fast, gets you underwater, extra combat effectiveness, extra moves, whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And the combat is set up like, oh my god, you do not have a lot of time to get it to top this. Very quickly transform into a monkey. Climb up as high as you can. Transform back. Attack. Jump away. Change into an elephant. Ram that. Change back into her. It's like very fast-paced with the transformations.
Right.
And the game is really set up to encourage you to use them, which I really like. Because usually you do get these restrictions on these things. And there's magic, but the magic is kind of, I haven't found a use for it yet beyond healing. But no, it's real. And she transforms. The move is called dance, and she starts belly dancing.
What's that do?
She just belly dances, and then you use the directional pad to choose which transformation you get. And with each hip shake, the transformation options change.
Okay.
So you can, if you're not quick enough, screw up and transform into the wrong thing. But yes, she's just doing the hip dance, and you're just like, soon I will watch you jiggle towards victory. But no, it's really fun, and I really like the visual style. I'm looking forward to getting into it more. I got a toy in the mail.
Oh,
In the post, I got the Bring Arts 2B and Machine Lifeform.
yes. You showed me one picture of it. I went, oh no, and then you never sent a response back.
Yeah, the box got knackered. The box got hella knackered, but I got it cheap, so I'm not really complaining. But yeah, I haven't had a lot of time to play with it, obviously, because I was a bit ill. I did, like, the base figure feels okay, but doesn't feel Figma level.
Right. Because, I mean, it's not Figma, is it? It's,
No, Bring Arts.
Yeah, and they're an offshoot of Play Arts, right?
I think so.
Okay.
And it certainly, and this is a weird thing to say, it certainly smells like Play Arts.
Yeah, getting a good whiff of it.
Yeah. But the Machine Lifeform I have had a bit of a fiddle with. He's got some construction issues in that his arms are just on a peg, which means they're really easy to knock off.
Ah, right.
But, like, oh, he's so cute. And I really like how his head works.
Does he have a
And
bucket?
he does have a bucket, and I
Aw.
got genuinely sad, and I
Yeah.
started watching the fucking music video
No.
from the DLC.
No.
Like I basically was like, this is what happened. I picked him up and I had him like, okay, I'm loosening up the joints. And these feel good. And I was just like, he's on the desk, and he's got a bucket. I give him the bucket. Oh yeah, the bucket. YouTube, near automatic music video. Oh yeah, the dolls. The dolls were sadder once I played the game.
Yeah.
Everything was sadder once I played the game.
Yeah, once you learn.
That's not a nice reason to be smashing dolls.
Meaning
But
yo.
no. Yeah, I'm gonna get more into 2B during the week, but I definitely like the Machine Lifeform. I really like the Machine Lifeform. I think he's really neat. The only other thing, didn't watch anything because most of what I was and Jai told me yesterday the Monogatari series was back out, and I was just like, what? I missed that, and so I got to do a catch up on that.
You
before I
mean there's a
watched
new
it.
series or something?
Yeah. And I
Okay.
got to do a catch up all the old stuff now, and that's I've
That's
still
a
got
lot.
I've still got a fair whack of stuff to get through. I have to admit.
Yeah.
Because I haven't hit the movies yet, and I really have to hit the movies because the visuals on that look stunning. But I did watch EO today.
Yay.
About half an hour before we started. No, actually, a couple of hours before we started. So they're winding up. They've confirmed that there are 2 episodes left after this one. And it's endgame and all the shit's going to hell. And they've done some retconning. Or they seem to have done some retconning. Whereby, hey, Andy, you know how for basically the last decade they've been trying to pretend there's this linked universe and this is all happening in the same world?
Yeah, and me and you've just been like, no, don't lie, don't.
They very explicitly said, what seems to be happening here is that all the worlds are being merged into one and all the worlds have their own writers.
Right.
And then you get a visual of 20 planets circling each other. And then, like, in the middle of Tokyo, you've got the Futo windmill appearing, and then the Yggdrasil building from Gaim appears, and the Skywall, and it's just like, oh no, these aspects of other realities are appearing here. I'm just like, are we playing this game? I mean, I know the producer of this thing doesn't give a shit, but are we really playing this game? So, I don't know. I'm like, the tone is basically Schwartz is going to destroy all the other worlds so that his timeline can survive. For some reason, his timeline is in danger.
Because?
Don't know why.
Oh, just because at the moment.
Just because at the moment, and they've got 2 episodes, so they better. That's a hell of a because to get through. They've got a lot of old enemies showing up, and then the big reveal here is that Machine Chaser shows up as the Dark Rider for this one, and I'm just like, he's not technically a rider at this stage. And he even goes like, oh, you're a Dark Rider, and he's just like, in my world there are no common riders.
Oh my god.
And then it's just like, so how can you be trying to kill common riders? And he literally has the logic shut down. Like, what?
Error.
And then he starts like remembering how Chase died in the original story, and he's just like, nah.
Right.
I'm guessing we're going to see Chaser next episode.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't mind. I like Chaser. And also, this seems to say that the movie, which I assumed was set after the series, is set in between episodes. Which I'm wondering if they're going to do anything with that, because they reference Go, and I know they don't know who Go is until the movie, because they meet him there. But yeah, Decade has a very big part in this one. He's basically going like, you don't have a choice, I have a choice, I make the rules, you don't. And then he ends up getting his powers back because he cheated and said, I lost my powers, but then I hid them all in the Decade Ride Watch. I hid half my powers in the Decade Ride Watch, and basically that just means when I come back, I'm back to full strength. Because fuck all you, because I'm Decade. And then I think Decade might be the bad guy at the end, I'm not sure.
Oh.
Because they get swarmed by all the monsters and everything else, it's just like, oh no, and like the Grand Geo watch disappears. And then at the end he's just like, well, I'm gonna kill you all. He's just like, I'm time to destroy the world. And that's literally how the episode ends.
Oh.
Just like, oh yeah, right, you've had this like threat that you've been reminding people of ever since you showed up, that if the world doesn't go the way you think it is, you will literally wipe it out. Which feels like it might be Schwartz's plan. As much as, because like, oh, I'll merge all the worlds into one and then make Decade destroy them. Or something like that. Which again would be, like, there's some bad child acting in this one. There's 2 very bad child actors.
Yeah, it's always better when you don't get kids involved.
But like, one's a teenager, he should know better. But he's like, he's playing Kid Schwartz.
Right.
And it's just like, oh, you're just terrible. Especially considering how much the main actor overacts for Schwartz.
Ooh.
And like, you've got this child who's just like, and then he switches into adult Schwartz and he's just like, no, I'm enjoying the scenery. Again, would be far more effective if Schwartz was any kind of a villain.
Right.
This was an okay episode. I won't go crazy and say it was good, but this show was at its best. Like, the first half of the show was at its best when it focused on the Geo timeline, right? All the Geo stuff. Second half, show is at its best when it's focusing on anything but the Geo stuff. So the fact you got an episode here with a fair bit of chase in it, it's got a lot of Tsukasa and Kaito, the end is in it a fair bit. That they get as much focus improves this episode. And like, I will say, like, if there's one thing Geo's done, it's made me like the Decade after his show. The character of Decade, I am now into. I am digging this guy that this show has presented me with. I still think the original show is massively flawed.
Yeah.
But the character and the actor who clearly went on to perfect his craft. And like he does the overwrought Japanese death scene?
Yes.
He does that in a way that made you go like, oh shit, he's just dead. Oh. And he's like, and it's not done in the, I've now got to talk for a while. I'm not dead yet. He's just like, we had to save someone. But he's not dead because it's Decade. But no, like, I kind of like the idea. Like, I'm more interested in the show ending on he's the problem to deal with than Schwartz. I think it will probably end up dealing with Schwartz, but I like either him or Omagio are the two I would rather the show was about.
Right.
Than the terrible Time Jacker storyline, because the Time Jackers are atrocious. But yeah, no. 2 more episodes to go, and then 01, which has had a major shift in the production team.
What you mean?
The suit actor for the main writer is not the same guy it's been for the last 18 shows.
Cool. Aye.
So that's a big deal over in Japan. Andy, what about you? What have you been up to?
It's here and there. Got out the Brian Ruckley interview you did. That's now up for everybody's. And so that was one thing. The weird movie that I was talking about earlier, that I alluded to earlier on the show, is a 1985 movie, Mikey, called Weird Science.
Right. I thought you said you were watching Weird Science for the first time.
Yes, I'd never seen Weird Science. Have you seen Weird Science, Mikey?
I have, but I'm more familiar, in all honesty, with the TV show that came out in the 90s.
Oh, I don't think I know that one. Is this the same premise?
It's the exact same premise. Like, absolutely 100% the same premise.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Because the movie, to me, as soon as you start asking any questions, breaks down. The 2 losers are able to make a woman somehow.
I don't know why you're poking holes in this.
They are able to do well. It gets this movie's weird, Mike, especially watching it in 2019 as a over 30-year-old man. They are able to create a woman using computers somehow, hacking into what I assume to be government computers somehow, very easily, and attaching pliers to a Barbie doll and having electricity hit it, and it turns into an attractive woman. She also seems to have godlike powers to make things like guns and cars and Ferraris. Yeah, I was thinking more she was an elder being, an elder thing. Because she has ridiculous power to do anything she wants. Anything. And they just wash it aside with, don't ask, she can just do this. And I'm like, but how? How did she make a biker to come and ruin the party that she set up? They make a nuke appear in their house, Mikey. A nuclear warhead. The parts that feel quite uncomfortable in 2019 is she states she's like a 23, 26-year-old woman. As she makes out with a 16-year-old. And I'm like, oh no. Oh no. No, lady. This is no. If I was more the appropriate age for the thing, like if I was 15, I'd be like, whoa, lads. Oh, lads. But as the age I am now, I'm like, oh, this is just wrong on. So the 2 boys shower with her at one point, and I'm like, oh, this is just wrong. So wrong, Mikey. It's you really can't ask questions. You can't ask questions. She makes fake IDs for them. And they go into a bar and start drinking heavily.
Yes.
Mikey, I didn't like this movie at all.
Were you outraged?
No, I was just confused. I think that's where most of my anger came from, just being utterly confused. Because I think I have a fairly large bar of suspension of disbelief when I'm watching shows like anime and whatnot.
You can.
This was not one of those things where I could suspend my disbelief for whatever reason. It's a bizarre little film, and not one of my Not one that I think I'll ever go back to and watch, to be honest. Jai was talking about The Boys last night, wasn't he, Mr. Mikey?
Yes, he was. He was saying it was good but gory.
I watched the first... Well, I wouldn't consider it... I've seen the first episode and I wouldn't consider it gory. Woman gets turned into paste straight away, but then again, I'm quite desensitized to that kind of stuff, so maybe it is.
We started watching children's shows where people got shoved into trees and we were just like, do it again.
Do it. Do it more. Do it sexy.
No, I'm just, what? Like erotic music playing in the background as he just like pushes into the knot in the tree.
That's right. I just like the idea of just inserting that the French guy from True Lies. Do it slow. Do it sexy. And the kaiju's like,
yeah, this leopard-headed angel monster.
It's like slowly dances as pushes a person inside of a tree and just like shrugging.
It's doing it like a stripper dance against the tree as it's doing it.
But it would need to do it awkwardly and look confused at the same time. Like, I don't really get it, but all right. Okay.
At the end, just the halo appears and it explodes.
But so, like, one episode in, I'm enjoying it. It feels like it was written by a person that hates superheroes, which is quite nice to see in this day and age.
It was written by... Who was it? Who came up with it?
I was going to say Warren Ellis, and I was like, wait, no that's not true.
What's his name? Oh, I'm going to check this. But it's got, like, it came out at a time when there was a lot of, I'm a comic book writer and I'm tired of writing superhero comics.
Oddly enough, incredibly appropriate. Well, I would argue incredibly appropriate at this point in time. Then
Garth Ennis,
yeah, you can tell he does not like superheroes watching this. And like I say, I think that's quite refreshing. I heard somebody say it was like what maybe Zack Snyder was trying to do with Man of Steel and all of his other movies, but
I feel that may be a gross exaggeration, but
I don't think so, because they did try and make Superman work in quotations realistic world.
Yeah, but The Boys is not trying to be realistic per se.
No, but it is sort of giving you an idea of how people. It's giving you an idea of how people would react in a world with superheroes in if they were also run by a terrible, terrible corporation. So I think the comparison is apt.
The Boys felt like it came out in the mid 2000s.
Okay.
Basically, kind of the same time you're getting stuff like The Ultimate and whatnot, and it felt like a tie-in to that kind of
I feel bad.
narrative.
I feel bad if anyone watches The Ultimates. Reads it, sorry.
People have tried to defend that fucking book to me.
Recently?
The last year.
Oh, really?
And I'm just like, never, ever try to defend The Ultimates to me because it was an atrocious, sexist, racist, misogynistic piece of shit.
I think the only way the way I enjoyed it was when it originally came out, so I was a lot younger at the time, and I didn't love it. I remember being like, oh, this is all right, this is kind of cool, but then again, I'm looking back on it, it's like, wow, that was a comic book.
That was something else.
That was stuff written on a page with art drawn for it, and it's like, ooh, oh dear,
Garth
Hulk.
Ennis.
What did they do to you, Hulk?
Oh God!
I imagine
everyone else in that.
I imagine as a Hulk fan, Mikey, that was a painful read for you.
That was not a comfortable read.
No.
What, the cannibalism or the awkward sex scenes?
Both. Well, I hope neither sat well with you, to be honest. Especially as a Hulk fan. Yeah.
But also, Garth Ennis wrote a series of books called Dicks.
Huh.
Garth Ennis' Dicks. Bigger Dicks 1 to 4, Dicks 2, Dicks Xmas Special, Dicks Winter Special, Dicks 2012 Volume 1 and 2, Dicks End of Time.
Wow, alright.
I really hope it's literally just Dicks and not like trying to... And here's Dick and Dick, the detectives.
Yeah.
I'm going to look.
That's odd. But one episode in, like I say, The Boys seems to be worth a watch. Don't know if it'll continue to be good. It could turn to shit very quickly. But I'm enjoying it so far. More episodes of Lord El Malloy Case Files. Still enjoying that. That was fun this week as usual. I didn't watch No Yaiba this week. That'll be for tonight's viewing potentially. Did I watch anything else? What did I watch with Matt? Matt came round, or I went round to Matt's. It was one of the two. Oh no, we watched wrestling, so it wasn't anything neat to talk about. Wrestling. No. I
What?
think that was
What?
it.
I'm curious now. What?
I was thinking, did we watch anything? And I was like, did we watch a Danny Dyer thing? And I was like, no, we didn't.
You were quoting Danny Dyer yesterday.
Yeah, because me and him seem to be doing a lot of Danny Dyer quotes because they're stupid and we have a lot of fun just being dumb every now and again. I bought my ticket for TF Nation. I did that yesterday. No, I did that today, finally. I've also paid off my buddy Wayne for the room, so I'm all set up basically now for the convention. I tried buying a Genesig Gawagaiga Super Mini Plat from Ami Ami, but I'm holding off on it because the postage came in as basically half the cost of the figure.
Oh.
Yeah, I've like the Jet Garuda, like the postage on that plus a few little cards was like 1,500 yen. So there's the postage on this on the Gaogaiga, the Genesig Gaogaiga was over 3,000, like 3,400 yen, like 3,400.
Like a
But it wasn't because Mandarake was the one that sold me Jet Garuda. So for some reason,
no, that's what I'm saying. Like you should
right.
be buying on Mandarake.
Yeah, I don't know why because I've bought Figmas from Ami Ami and the shipping was really small on it, like minuscule.
How big is the box for this?
It wouldn't be bigger than Jet Garuda.
It would have more complex components.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be bigger, so it wouldn't have as large parts. Because Jet Garuda came in quite a big box. So I sent them an email waiting for them for a response to be like, why is it this much money? And if they give me a reason that's not good, I'll just be like, well, cancel it. I'll go to Mandarake because they'll more than likely give me a lot cheaper deal. So one of those things. We'll see what happens. First world problems, as you know. I started playing Tales of Berseria as well this week. As part.
Oh yeah, I've been meaning to get that.
Yeah. I'm 10 hours in for whatever that means for a long expanding RPG storyline. I'm enjoying it so far. I will say that they throw a lot of mechanics and terminology at you very quickly without a huge way to test them out because you can set up combos and each kind of new move that you learn has a strength against a certain type of enemy. So let's say a spinning kick is super effective or does more damage against demi-humans, and then there's a normal punch that does more against armored characters, and each of those attacks also has a slight element to it as well. So it could be a fire punch, but it's also effective against demi-humans, etc., etc. So it's quite deep, or it feels quite deep, and I don't feel comfortable quite with it yet at the moment. So it's still a big learning process. One of the things I really do like about it is I've already had quite a few animated cutscenes, like actually 2D animated, which is quite nice. I expected to see that for the opening sequence and then never again. There's been a decent amount. Yeah, that is the way. There's been a decent amount of 3D cutscenes, and the actual 2D sprite conversation ones. You know how usually it's just a static background and then two sprites talking to each other without much going on.
Yeah.
The way they do it in this game's better. The background is a gradient, so it's not very interesting to look at, but each of the sprites will have slightly more animation to them, so there's a more variety to the sprites, and they will float left and right, and when you're having a dramatic thing, so like a character's going, like the page will almost pan down to a close-up of that sprite, with a different reaction, with a different gradient, and then after that reaction, it'll then go to another shot of all of them together. So there's not a huge amount of animation to it, but there's a lot more than I would usually expect to see from basic talking to each other kind of thing, which is nice. I did play for about 2 minutes English dub, and I went, I can't, and went to Japanese dub. Not that there was anything wrong with the English dub. I'm just a dirty weeb at heart, so I had to switch it. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but I'm sorry.
I was going to say you're quite glad.
Yeah. I much prefer just hearing it in Japanese. But it's an interesting story so far because all of your characters are basically anti-heroes, I suppose. You're painted as the villains in this slightly oppressive authoritarian world that is using its authority to tread on the people, but doing it for the right reasons to stop what they call demons. I don't know what the Japanese. It's not demon in Japanese, but whatever the equivalent is. Because they
probably right.
no, it's not monster either.
You okay?
No, it's gomi or something like that. It's not.
Oh, I've
trash.
heard that before.
Yeah, it's
God, I sound such a weeb.
I know. Yeah, you're watching enough anime, you pick up on this stuff. It's something like that, but it's not a direct, what I would say, demon. So it's, they've these exorcists who are the only ones that can kill the demons a little bit more, treading on the people's freedom, and the people are fine with it because they get to be not killed.
As you would, really.
Yeah, so it's interesting so far. I'm looking forward to getting more into it, hopefully becoming a bit more comfortable with the combat, but we'll see, because it seems to give... The combat system is not turn-based, it is a arena, I suppose. You're in a small arena, and you have action points that you can use to do certain moves, and then you can also change the characters that you're playing as the other ones are being controlled by AI at the time. So it sounds like you can do a combo, and then if you wanted to, you could switch to another character who's off doing something else, and then maybe make him run over and then attack the same opponent to keep the combo going. I don't know.
Final Fantasy VII stuff.
Maybe. I don't know. It'll make more sense when you see like footage of it, but it seems at the moment like I'm just hitting buttons, and I'm not really thinking too much about it in a lot of ways, which I don't feel comfortable with, because I like to know how things work if I can. I think that's it. I think that's all I've really done. We're not doing any questions this week because, well, TF Nation's coming up soon, so we've got that coming. I have that coming. So, Mikey, thank you for joining me this week on Moonbase 2.
Indeed.
Where can people find you on the internet if you want them to?
You can find me on Twitter as Irish Paleo and YouTube as GWolfies3. If you want to leave us feedback, guys, there's multiple ways. Moonbase2@gmail.com, Patreon, Facebook, Twitter, Libsyn, probably Sky Pigeon.
Sky Pigeon? Alright, shit. I didn't know we'd got those in town.
Sky Pigeon. Yeah, and don't forget to check out the Brian Ruckley interview, guys. It's out there. I really enjoyed doing it. He's a really interesting guy, and I did kind of just turn it into 50 minutes me geeking over, like, natural history stuff.
What? That's so unlike you, Mikey.
Yeah, because check out his podcast. It's really good. Wild episode. Well worth your time. Andy, what about you?
You can find me on Twitter, CCTFW, on YouTube as Cobra Commander TFW. You can find this podcast on Moonbase 2 forums, Twitter, iTunes, Facebook, Libsyn, and Patreon as Moonbase 2 Transformers. No, YouTube as Moonbase 2 Transformers podcast, Patreon as Moonbase 2. And if you do $2 each month, you get the extended version of From the Files of Teltron 2, and you get it a week early. You get interviews a week early, and you get the Moonbase Woo Woo, where we talk about more in depth on things that we like and whatnot. So, yeah, thank you everybody for listening. Next week, I don't know what will happen. Either Mikey could record a podcast with somebody else if he wanted to.
Possible?
Or we could... or the podcast will be up later. I don't know. Me and Mikey haven't actually talked about it yet. So
it'll probably depend on how the week goes in terms of news.
That makes sense. So until at some point next week, everyone, we will catch you then.
Yes.
Yes.
You are now leaving